host, Sean Laurie. Welcome to A Dreamer's Experience, where we let the next generation's voice be heard and we help build a stable identity in an unstable world. Welcome to episode 3. I'm here with Jaelon Hartfield. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just so the people get to know who you are. Obviously, you're a college student, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just graduated, and you're also a hooper, right? So hopefully you be on the squad next year. Obviously, with the whole virus stuff, that kind of threw some stuff off.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, let the people know a little bit about you.
I just graduated May of 2019. Okay. Went to San Bernardino Valley College. I studied in communications. Then I switched my major to business communications because I wanted to. Me personally, I don't like not taking orders, but I don't like. I would rather have my own business basically instead of listening to somebody else, working for somebody else. So I switched my major to business communications, and I've just been going to school. Well, can't really go to school right now. I've just been doing online classes, and then just waiting till this August to go back. Really, so that's what I've been doing.
I like that, man. I like that. So obviously you are a college student, like you said. So I was just wondering, are you the first one in your family, or either on your mom's side, dad's side, or just overall, are you the first one in your family to go to college?
Actually, no. On my mom's side, my auntie went to a university. My cousin, one of my other cousins, went to university. On my dad's side, I think I am the first one. On my dad's side, I am the first one to go to college. Awesome. On my dad's side. Yeah.
That's awesome. So because today we're talking about like generational cycles, generational curses to some people, right? So I was just wondering then, like, with that, well, first off, I guess I should ask you, when you hear that term, what would you say is a generational cycle?
Generational cycle, to me, that's like something. Well, it can be two different things. One could be like, as a kid, you've seen your parents do something so often, like you just start doing it, whether it's good or bad. Or it could be just something within you, like there's certain times I make certain faces, do certain things, and my mom tells me, "Oh, you look like your dad when you do that," but I didn't know he would do stuff like that. So sometimes it's just within you, or sometimes it's just things that you see.
So you kind of, I guess, answered it for me a little bit then. So would you say a generational cycle so it can be good or bad? Right, it sounds like you were saying it can be good or bad. For you, for your experience, what do you view it as?
More so when you hear about a generational cycle, they're usually talking about something negative. But I feel like it could go either way, because it could be like, okay, I would let me give an example. Like, say my dad is like a billionaire, like he has a bunch of companies, and I'll just fall under his wing and start doing do the things that he does, and then I make my own empire as a billionaire. So that's like a generational cycle of something that's positive. But something that would be negative would be like, I see my dad drinking all the time, doing certain things, and I start doing it. Then it's a negative generational cycle.
Okay. Has it been a difficult or hard for you to battle with those certain things? Like you said, certain faces you make, right? Which isn't a big deal, but let's say like you have certain things, like if, I don't know, but if your dad, your mom, or whatever drinks, or family members or whatever people in your circle like that do certain things, is it a difficult battle for you, or is it something that's not even an issue?
I would say it just me personally. Are you okay?
Yeah, you personally. Okay. This is your story, so for you.
Yeah, certain things that I do or certain things that I do, I find it difficult sometimes. Like, I might not know that like my mom or my dad did this, but I just do it out of like, I'm just doing it, like not knowing. And then it gets brought to my attention, and I might change it, I might not. It just depends on what it is, really.
Got you. So like, for me, right? So like, there's certain things like what you said. Like for me, I remember for myself, I wanted to break a cycle as far as like a father figure, right? A stable father figure. So like for me, like, you know, and my grandfather, my dad, all that, like it kept going where like it wasn't a stable father figure, right? And that's many people, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, where either their dad's not in their life at all, or maybe a part-time dad or something like that.
Yeah.
So I remember I told myself, you know, when I have my family, like this is something I want to break. This is something that I'm gonna make sure, right, that I do. And so I feel like as far as that goes, like that was I don't want to say easy, but it was an easier transition for me because I was so self-conscious about it. But like, right, where there were certain things where I didn't realize were like how a lot of the men in my family treat women, right? And so like I treated women, I'll be honest, I didn't treat them like the best. You know what I mean? And so like that was more difficult for me. You know what I mean? So like for you, like what you said, certain things you try to correct and stuff. How has that? Obviously, you're still young, you know, you're learning. But how has that been for you? Just I guess like overcoming some of those things. Like, is it something that you're still processing, or is it something where you're like I said, like with the father thing, where you're like, oh man, it really wasn't that difficult at all. Like, how is it?
Some of the things, for sure, like you still process like throughout life. Just going through certain things as a kid, and you get older and you start to get a mind of your own, see different things from different views. To me, like, okay, like my dad and my brother, they both drink a lot, and my grandpa, he drank a lot, all that. So me seeing my dad do that, then hearing about my grandpa doing it, then hearing about my brother doing it, it made me think like, nah, I don't want to do this. Or just like the certain situations where I saw my father, he would like be addicted to drinking, and I would be like, nah, like as I get older, or even when I was younger, like 4, 5, 6, I would think to myself like, nah, I don't ever want to do that. I don't ever want to have, like, I don't ever want to, just
be in that place.
Be in that place, drinking no matter what, like drinking for like
just because.
Just because.
Got you. No, that's true, man. So like what you said, right? So when we're younger, which is good, like at a young age, you already recognize that. Because when we're younger, we don't realize too, right? So a lot of it, like you said, like we do certain things and we might not even be around our family members like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's crazy how like genetics work like that.
That is crazy.
Right? And it could be something small that we didn't even realize, you know what I mean? So it could be something as far as like I said, for me, right, where I'm looking at it like, oh, you know, I see family members with like different women or something like that, right? Like different male figures I see with different women or something like that as a young age. And so at 4 or 5 years old, in my head, I'm like, that's what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? As a man, you're supposed to have a bunch of women. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of young men think that. You know what I mean? The same thing with women too, right? So women, they're in terrible relationships. Like, let's say like they're with the quote unquote like bad boy, the thug type, and they didn't realize like, oh, you know what? Actually, that's what my mom would always date. You know what I mean? Or like
go with what you like prefer, or like what you seen at coming up. Basically.
Exactly. And so for you, that's the normal. You get what I'm saying? So that's, for me, I feel like a lot of that with the generational, and like you said, some of it's good, but the negative stuff we view as normal, because at the end of the day, what is normal? You know what I'm saying? Like, normal's whatever you think it is at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, if, like I said, in my mind, if I'm like, oh yeah, of course you're supposed to be with a bunch of women. That's how, and you're like, well, how I grew up, like, my parents always was together, so I look at it.
It just depends on the household, really, and how you, not even the household, because you could still come from a 2-parent household and still have that same mindset of like, I'm like any woman, like whatever. So it just really depends on the person, in my opinion, or it depends on not even the person, like the things that they go through, more so as a kid, because as you get older, like you already know certain things, so like it's more so what you go through at a younger age.
No, that's true, because like you said, 2-parent, you know, and your parents can quote unquote be the perfect parents or perfect example, right? But let's say you have that uncle, that aunt, that cousin, right, that's doing certain stuff, and you like, yo, I want to do what they doing. Or, you know, people look at like, oh, they have quote unquote the perfect parents, but behind the scenes, you see your mom and dad constantly arguing. You see your dad putting hands on. You see your mom cheated. You know what I mean? There's so many different things where, you know, realize that it's affecting you as you grow up. You know what I mean? So, like, with that being said, then what would you say then helps? What would you say someone that's battling with that might not even realize that that is an issue, right? Because I said, like, to them that's normal. You know what I mean? So, like, what would you say to them that, like, I don't know, whatever, they want to stop drinking or they want to stop dealing with these bad relationships, but that's all they've seen growing up. That's what, and it's continuing to go, right? And maybe even those young people that have kids, right? That's another thing. Like, oh, my mom had me at 15. I had my kid at 15. My sister had me, you know what I mean? So it's like, what would you say as an encouragement, like, to them, basically?
What I would say actually is, if you're like thinking about doing something like say, you always see somebody drinking, or you see, like you said, your mom was pregnant at a young age. Just see the things that they have to go through, or ask them like the different things they have to go through. Like, oh, how was it being a mom at 17 or 16? Like, what was the difficulties? Like, what did you have to go through? Do you wish you would have did it at a later age? Like, different things like that, like the different adversities that they went through. That's what I would tell them to ask them, like, what's like the different things that they went through, and negative and positive, of course. Having a kid is always a blessing, but having it at a young age is not really like not the norm, really, and not because you would have to, your life would be yours, but it wouldn't be yours no more technically. So you would have to grow up real fast. And you wouldn't be able to go through the different things you can go through. Like, say you had a kid at 15 or 16. You're not able to experience life, go hang out with your friends, go do different things, experience life, really. So I would just say, look at the people who came before you and see what they did, and just base it off of that, whether it's negative or positive.
So what would you say, because a lot of times, like, that's a very great answer, but a lot of times, right, a lot of the youth, they're like, how can you tell me not to smoke when you used to smoke? How can you tell me not to drink when you used to drink? How can you tell me not have a kid at a young age when you had a kid at a young age? You know what I'm saying? Where they start getting, like, defensive, basically, like, and I'm not speaking for, that's a whole nother conversation if they're telling you not to do something and they're still doing it. I'm not saying that. That's a whole nother conversation, but I'm just saying, as far as, like, when you're young and you're like, you're getting on me for whatever, you're getting on me for having sex at a young age, right? Let's just be honest, like, or you're getting on me for having a kid at a young age, but you did the same thing. Like, what would you tell someone? Because that's their mindset, and they don't even realize that they're actually making the cycle continue, right? With that mindset, but they don't realize it. Like, they're just more so like, you can't tell me because you did the same. So what would you tell someone, like, with that type of thought?
I would just say,
didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Well, it's like, you, like I said before, you really have to just look and see how they went through it, because of course, it's gonna be adversity through anything that you go through, really. So just see the different things that they went through, and like, do I really want to do this? Like, do I really want to go through this? Do I really want to? Because having a kid is like you gotta buy Pampers, you gotta buy formula, all that stuff. And life is really not about you at that point. So do I really want to do this, or do I want to experience life? Do I want to hang out? Do I want to go do different things, or do I want to be stayed at home, tied down because I had a kid at a young age? And not even just the kid thing, like we were saying, like the generational cycle about the drinking and like all different things.
No, I like that, man. And obviously too, right? Just because you drink or something doesn't mean you're a bad person, obviously. Or you smoke, or you have a kid at a young age. It's just more so recognizing those habits and trying to control those things, right? So obviously I've been talking about the negative part, and my question is, why do you think why do you think people in general focus more so on the negative instead of positive? Like, oh, my dad owns a business, so I want to own a business. My dad, is a trainer. I want to be a trainer. My mom, whatever, she owns her own business, or, my mom bought a house at 22 years old, whatever it is, right? Like, why do you think that's not talked about enough, I guess?
I think that because as humans, we're selfish, so we're gonna, of course, especially nowadays, like on the news, you just see nothing but negativity.
Yeah.
So if you see negativity, you're gonna put out negativity, and if you put out negativity, people are gonna be negative towards you. So it's like, it's just based off of things that we, like I said before, things that we see or what we go through, or what we think we lack, or what we do lack, but that we think that we need, but in reality, we might not have needed that. Like, it could have went down like a different path if we did it a different way, is what I'm trying to say. Really.
No, I like that. And obviously, a lot of times, because I know some of the youth I spoke to before, they don't even realize that there is generational cycles or curses, whatever people want to talk about. But I would like to encourage those people that's listening or watching, that even though there might be some negative things maybe in your household, there's also could be a positive from it. You know what I mean? Like what you said, like turn that negative to a positive, as far as, oh, you know what, my mom, my dad's an alcoholic, for example, and you make that into a positive, like, I'm never gonna let myself get there. You know what I mean? Or, oh, you know what, my parents, whatever, they drink a lot, this and this, but they've always been driven. Like, that's one thing I know. Take that part of them. You know what I mean? You don't have to take, a lot of times we get, which we might not even mean to, but we take the negative part of a family member or a loved one instead of taking that positive. So even though it's difficult at times, like, look for the positive about, like, man, you know what, me and my parents always argue. Like, it seems like it's literally a generational thing where everyone in my family has anger issues. You know what I mean? Instead of looking at like, okay, they strictly have anger issues, I'm gonna work on that. But one thing I do like is that they're passionate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And take that part with you. Like, whatever you do, oh, I'm gonna be passionate, and pass that down to your kids. Not the anger, not the yelling, but be like passionate, like, oh wow, mom, dad, why you work so hard? Because in our family, we are so passionate, we're driven. So it changes from, in our family, everyone gets angry, to in our family, everyone is passionate. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Everyone's driven. So now,
and that's the new generation of cycle.
Exactly. So now they have the mindset of thinking like, oh, you know what? No, anger is just what we do. That's what we have in our family. To not, passion and driven is what we do. Anger, no, we actually try to control those things. But we're very passionate. We're passionate people. We care. You know what I mean? And that's how you kind of help build that. But yeah, bro, I definitely just appreciate you, man, just taking the time out. You know what I mean? I would say to plug in your stuff, but I know you're not big on social media like that. You can tell people if you got Snap or something like that.
Yeah, I got Snapchat. AB11. That's it's just my full name.
Wow.
Just Jaelon, Jaelon. That's it.
That's it for Snap?
Yeah, that's it. Just my name. I changed it to just my name.
I don't have Snap, so I'm sorry. But no, and for you guys, please subscribe to the podcast, to the YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. You guys know Dreamers Ambition. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, bro, for just taking the time out. I appreciate you guys for listening, for watching. And just remember these 3 things. To remember to instill hope, remember to have faith, and also remember to dream big. I appreciate y'all.
But I'm God's child, so I'm like, aye.